Hello everyone, my name is Lucila Faingata'a. I'm from Tonga. I migrated to Australia in 1982.
I found that Sydney is one of the best places to study. I've been studying in the States and in Fiji and Samoa and in New Zealand. There are a whole lot of opportunities here, and there are a lot of help that one can get. You look right, left, up and down, and you get in. I hope that you will take the opportunities that you have.
First, the language gap. Even though I spoke English, I did speak English when I was in Tonga at the school, but I hardly speak it. I can just, I didn't exercise it until I hop on the plane and people started talking to me in English. I understood when they talked to me, but replying to them and speaking fluently like how I talk now, I was never able to do. It took a while for me to get to the stage where I am now. In Australia.
The first difficulty that I went through was finding Australia to be too big compared to New Zealand and then to Samoa. The distance between for example, the distance between Dee Why and Warriewood was too far for me.
And I myself was able to study. I had the option to be a good doctor, or I chose to be a better nurse, which is my vocation, and went on to be a degree in nursing and in counselling with the Catholic University, and a mentor for North Sydney TAFE.
Opportunities just come. Like, I work as an accountant and then went back to university, did the Masters of Business that enabled me to be a tutor at Sydney University in the business school. And even now I changed so many jobs and so many careers only because of the education that I have. So that's a tip to all the young ones that come here. If they make use of the opportunities, you know, they can be like what my colleague from Samoa was hoping for the young ones that come from the Pacific Islander to Australia, that they can be CEOs and bank managers. I'm also a bank manager for one of the banks in Australia at the moment, so I'm doing 3 jobs at the moment, all because of the opportunities being made use of. So I advise the young ones, instead of just grabbing any job that they can get just for quick money, if they can gain some education as much as they can, there's more opportunities for them in the future. I look Tongan. No one can change that, my identity. But the way I think, I'm more Australian. A good example, through education, I did have my own business. I became a owner-manager of one of the banks in Australia. And it was funny, one of my colleagues said to me, "Oh, are you from Tonga?" And I said, "Yes." They said, "Oh, laid-back people," meaning lazy people. And then I said, not everybody's the same. But then after a while of working together with this colleague, he found out that I was not one of those laid back. I know Pacific Islanders, they take things easy, meaning when there are deadlines to meet, a lot of them, they just have the attitude of whatever, if we can get there. But I think being in Australia now for almost 35 years, I've changed a lot. I think like Australian and act like Australian, but still eat like Tongan and look like Tongan.
I think that's one of the things that we're trying to achieve with this community organisation. We've got a mentoring program that goes into the local high school. The kids have been illustrating books, but that's the backbone of the project, is them illustrating the books on myths and legend, which provides the culture connection. And the other part of it is actually talking to them and showing them that there are other avenues out there for them to take, and there's opportunities that they could take if they wanted to, and to believe in themselves.
To involve more in communities. We need to involve more in churches, and we need to form organizations. Just for example, the organization that we have here. This is where we can nurture and foster the values and the benefits to encourage and enforce our culture.
Teach them by example, meaning some of the cultures that are good, I keep them, and those cultures that I don't agree with, I don't teach my children. A good example, like the culture of paying respect to the elderly people and people around, I always tell them. But even I think with culture of respect, I think everywhere in the world, you know, with a thank you, that's naturally just come to everyone. So some of the cultures, like keeping the Sabbath day, I do keep that, and I do strictly tell the children not to go shopping on Sundays, because when they go shopping, they're encouraging all those businesses that open on Sundays to keep opening.
Family is basically our identities. That is the unit or a tight-knit where we all belong to. From there you come out confidence, and from there you come out knowing everything about yourself, about your culture, about your ancestors, which is the root of who you are.
The main issues for second generation and third generation islanders growing up in Australia is, one, there is a loss of culture and connection to culture, because for me personally, my parents worked a lot, and I was lucky enough to grow up in the islands and come back here knowing my culture. But I found that here in Australia there is a lot of parents working all the time, so it's almost as if the kids don't learn as much as they should from the parents. And back in the islands they had elders that they learned from and family members that they were always around, whereas here that's not necessarily the case, and people had to work, we had bills to pay. So the kids were left to kind of fend for themselves a lot, and that's where the connection to culture was kind of lost.
My hopes for the young Pacific generations in Australia is for them to be members of the parliament, to be CEOs, to be managers of whatever department that they would work in. Pacific Islanders have come a long way, and my hope is for them to be in those positions, to push forward and to be in those levels.
My hope for the young generation growing up here on the northern beaches, and not just them, but in Australia and globally, that they embrace, that they have a faith, and they believe in that, and to not to lose hope, but to stand with their belief, with courage, to do better for themselves and to others, and to help others to do better too.
I'm loving it in Australia. I now call Australia my home. I sometimes travel back to Tonga to visit families and relatives, and I hope that everyone that comes to Australia, it's a good country. You're free to do whatever you have to do, but just make use of that opportunity. It will be great for everyone.